All right. Hey, how is everyone doing tonight? I hope you're doing fantastic this evening. Let me check and make sure we are all rocking and rolling and working. Everything seems to be working and live. Yeah, for Facebook videos, right? All right. So I've got a project that I'm working on, and I want to share this with you guys because I've been posting and sharing a lot lately about this thing called Screen Repair Business Academy, where I teach people to launch $100,000 screen repair businesses in 8 weeks or less. It's a fantastic side business. I'm running a bonus of $1,000 this weekend, and I want to talk to and I'd love to get you on board a Screen Repair Business Academy. Get started, pour jet fuel on your side business today. I mean, it's a great deal, but that's not why I'm getting on here. I want to just as I got to start something real quick, um, and then we'll get started with kind of what I wanted to share with you tonight. Just a second. Do, do, do. Yeah, for technology not working as fast as you'd like technology to work. But anyhow, we'll get working. We'll get started in just a second. Sorry about this. Okay. Again, welcome to my page. I guess you're not anywhere special. You're on Facebook watching this live video. But so here's what I wanted to talk about tonight because I want to kind of unpack my journey from where I've been to where I'm going and why for some of you that are close to me, why it seems like I'm sharing a lot about this starting a side business thing on Facebook. And so I want to talk tonight. I want to talk for just a few minutes about my journey from being a full time pastor to entrepreneur because not everyone makes that leap. Not everyone makes that jump. So I went to seminary, Dallas Theological Seminary. For those of you that are in the church world, I'm a pastor. Um, I got my master's in theology at Dallas Theological Seminary, and to be honest, even while I was going to school, getting a degree in theology and ministry, I had a bit of an interest in business. I never knew if I'd be able to actually make any use of it because I had in my mind this idea that I was going to be a full time pastor, that I was going to work at churches my entire life, full time, in the same way my dad did. I'm a pastor's kid. And so I went in, I graduated from seminary, even though I was reading books on business just for fun. I graduated from seminary. I got my first job at the church where I am now. And that was about 10 and a half, 11 years ago now. And I started work at this church. It was a small church of about 80. Thanks to my amazing pastoring, it shrunk to probably in the 50s and 60s. Um, and there's a whole lot of factors involved in that. I am not a church growth specialist. That's not my deal. But what I can say is over the last about 6 years ago, I saw myself going through a number of times choosing to take a when I was choosing to take a pay cut in order to provide for the church. I was choosing to take a pay cut in order to make things balance out for the church, and that was great. I love my church. I loved my church back then. I love my church now. I love Cornerstone Bible Church, and I love the opportunity to make things work financially because there's a practical side to ministry. But what I didn't like was the reality when I sat back and looked at my future, I didn't have any chance of saving for retirement based on what I was making for my church. I didn't have any chance to provide for my daughter's wedding with what I was making for my church. I knew that if we were going to save for retirement or prepare for my daughter's wedding sometime in the future or do any remodels on a house or a vacation that we want to do, if we wanted to do any of those things, either A, my wife had to go back to work full time, and she's a teacher. It's a really hard thing. It's like 80 hours a week or nothing in teaching. Or I had to come up with a way to make money on the side. And so I already had a bit of an interest in business, but no experience whatsoever in running the business. And then the Apple battery gate happened. And I don't know if you remember I don't know when it was, 2016, 2017, back when the iPhone 6 and 7 were new. Apple was sued because people claimed that Apple was slowing down the iPhone 6 in order to get people to buy the iPhone 7. And so, as a resolution to this class action lawsuit, Apple offered to give everyone cheap battery replacements. You just had to get your phone to the local Apple store. And I thought to myself, I had an iPhone 6 Plus at the time, and I said, hey, I want to get that done. I want to get my battery replaced. But wait, my problem was I live in Terre Haute. The closest Apple store is an hour and a half away. The other option would be to mail the phone in. I was like, I don't want to mail my phone in, and it's not worth it for me to drive an hour and a half. And then I got on YouTube. And you can learn anything on YouTube, right? Don't you love YouTube today? I got on YouTube and I realized, wait a second, I could repair this battery for myself. And I played around with it. I didn't destroy my phone. I replaced my battery. And then I did that for some friends, some family members. And then I noticed around me, as I looked around, I noticed repair shops were charging what seemed to me like a surprising amount of money for repairs. And I thought to myself, wow, what if I could repair this? What if I could repair this for others? And I started doing it for friends and for family members. And after about a year and a half in, I decided, hey, let's get this registered. Let's really try and make this work. And I lost a lot of money, made a lot of mistakes, but over the last 4 years, I transformed a business that was losing money like a sieve into a profit-making machine that is continuously growing. And I'm on a bunch of, not bragging, but I'm just saying, I'm on a bunch of repair shop pages and groups. And on each of these pages and groups, they're talking about how April was a slow month for them. For me, it was one of my best months ever. But one of the things I want to share, one of the things I want to share about my story is simply this. Throughout this last year, throughout 2022, my church realized that thanks to the effects of the coronavirus and where our church was at, we were no longer going to be a church that could support a full-time pastor. We needed to be a part-time pastor church. We're averaging in the 30s, and they're in the 30s, to be honest, in terms of attendance, and we had the giving that went with it, and we couldn't support a full-time pastor. And so the question was this. The question was, Daniel, do you want to take a part-time salary, or do you want to go somewhere else? Do you want to work somewhere else, find a job where you can work full-time? And that was something my wife and I really seriously considered. We thought, okay, maybe I'll go get a job at another church where I could work full-time. But the reality was I loved being a businessman on the side. But more than that, I realized the future of churches in America is going to be loaded with pastors working part-time, isn't it? Small churches are going to be more and more of a thing in America. In fact, they're already a vast majority of churches are small churches. And so I realized that our church, Cornerstone Bible Church, first of all, if I quit and went to another church, they were still going to have the problem of needing to get another pastor willing to work part-time for them, which was going to be a challenge. I knew it. But secondly, if I chose to quit and go to another church, that avoided the actual problem. The problem was, how do we be a healthy church with a part-time pastor? And so I decided to stay part-time. And in January, I took a massive, terrifying leap of faith. And I learned if my business could actually support our family when it needed to do half of the supporting. Because prior to this, it'd just been an extra thing on the side. Now it's half of my income. That was terrifying to take that leap of faith. But because I'd put in the energy, put in the effort, built the systems, built the reputation, built the website, built the marketing plans, and more, it was something that could provide for half of my income. Now my church has so much freedom. We actually have extra money in the bank to consider doing extra initiatives. It is so cool how the flavor of our meetings, our leadership meetings, have changed now that we have more money in the bank to handle the stuff that's coming up. Because I built an income on the side to provide for my church, I'm in a place where I'm best able to serve them and able to provide for my family, and we have an exciting future for the church. So some of the challenges I faced building this, just a thought. It's hard being a pastor. Money with it, pastoring is always a touchy subject. Some churches want your wife to work to support you. Some churches think that you can live on a poverty basis, and those are hard. And it's hard. A lot of the pastors I talk to struggle with guilt over how to talk to their churches about money. And one of the biggest things that I've learned in my whole journey is I need to be incredibly practical with my church. I need to be the one that says and points out the practical needs that my family has. And for much of the time with this church I'm at, they were simply not able to provide for these practical needs. There's one time I actually printed up our budget and shared exactly what our budget was and says, hey guys, this is exactly what we need to live on. And because I had those pragmatic conversations, I was able to bring up and help them to understand how I needed to run a business on the side to provide for my family because of the limitations we face and the money we weren't making. So my journey from being a pastor to an entrepreneur is not something where I've chosen to leave ministry behind. It's something where I do my entrepreneurial work in order to make it possible for me to do my ministry work. I work as a businessman so that I can do ministry. And, the cool thing is, people are so much more willing to talk about their life, their problems, to let me pray for them, to let me read the Bible to them, all these things. My cell phone customers really want to hear what I have to say, a lot more than the people in my church do sometimes. So that's just a little bit of my journey. I'm going to be sharing each day for the next 10 days, little bits of my journey, because I hope that my journey as a pastor transitioning to becoming a part-time entrepreneur, I hope that my journey can help someone. I hope that by looking at the path I've been on, maybe I can inspire you to take a leap of faith to provide for your family as well. Thank you for tuning in to whatever extent you have, and for listening, for reading, however you're taking this in. And I wish you a fantastic evening. Bye for now.